Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Identity Insights by Indicio. I'm your host, Tim Spring, and today I'm joined by Indicio CEO Heather Dahl. And she's been attending the International Air Transport Association, also known as IATA's World Passenger Symposium over the past couple days. So she's here to tell us a little bit about the conference. Thanks for joining me today, Heather. Would you mind starting us off with a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Heather Dahl, and I'm CEO of Indicio. I've been working in the space, Tim, for longer than I can keep track of now, which is awesome because I have really seen the maturity of verifiable credentials from those early days when this was just really an early vision. And at the IATA World Passenger Symposium, I saw that vision a reality, and a reality that's benefiting an entire industry.
All right, very cool. Well, yeah, we appreciate you, especially after a long day of conferences, joining us here. Could you tell me kind of in a nutshell what this conference was about? Obviously, it was about passengers, but what about passengers, the passenger journey? Like what was,
Right.
if you go to that bit.
IATA brings together airlines and governments and other companies who support the air travel industry to talk about emerging trends and challenges that they have, and also celebrate the success that they have had in addressing some of the vision that they have, some of their goals as an industry. And so that's what we did for the past 2 days.
Nice. And I know obviously you're super busy running Indicio and doing other things. So what was kind of your purpose in being at the event?
Indicio has supported CETA in developing and deploying the digital travel credential, and many probably know our work with CETA and the successes that we have been having in Aruba, which we were here to really understand the market, to have conversations around verifiable credentials and the importance of digital identity in the future of the air travel industry.
All right. And let's dive into some of those conversations. I'm curious, who you talked to, what they wanted to know, all kinds of things that were said.
I think the really important part of the event was actually the very first keynote session. And that is where IATA presented the results of their passenger survey. It was the results of their global passenger survey that they've just announced. And it was really interesting, I think, not only for the industry, for the air travel industry, but also for all of us in verifiable credentials. Some of the trends that we see, some of the challenges, the values that others who are looking at verifiable credentials from a commercial business perspective have seen. So what are the factors that are driving industries and organizations and companies looking at verifiable credentials? The first thing we understood from IATA is that really the global economic activity coming out of the pandemic has really started to moderate, and it's starting to get around some of the numbers of pre-pandemic. Specifically, one of the things that's come out of the pandemic is that the labor markets are tight, and finding employees, and I would say this is more than just air travel, finding employees, but also for air travel, for airlines, for airports, it's a challenge. And we're also in an economic point where we can start seeing jet fuel prices starting to go back up. So you have a case where you have an industry that is looking at how they can best use the employees that they have today, and then also looking at how jet fuel prices increase and the impact on tickets and margins for the airlines. You also have a situation where the US dollar is going up. And so for those who are not in the United States, that has an impact on everything, especially when the US dollar is used as the benchmark for price negotiations, purchases, especially major purchases, for instance, airplanes. And so those are kind of economic drivers that have you looking at how can an industry increase operational efficiency to do the most with the employees they have? What can they do to save money, find new revenue streams, And also, how do you support a passenger journey and passenger expectations for what they would see as a seamless travel experience that today's digital native, but all of us in our digital lives are expecting almost everything in our life to be almost like one-click technology.
So, right, you've mentioned that the airlines are looking to save money, especially as the dollar goes up. How do verifiable credentials really help them make that happen?
A verifiable credential allows a passenger to hold their data, their digital identity information themselves and share it with consent with the airlines, with the governments, with other entities who would like to have that identity through their travel experience. And through that, it does create that efficiency for the airlines, but it also improves passenger experience. More importantly, it takes the passenger as the one who's providing their information with consent, and it also helps support their privacy.
All right. So, right, obviously, you were at the conference for a couple days. I'm wondering, besides this main keynote, were there any interesting sessions that you were able to attend, maybe on new technologies or different trends in the industry that you didn't know about before?
One of the exciting points throughout the entire conference was the talk about verifiable credentials and digital identity. It was really a thread through many of the sessions and, of course, the meetings that I would be in on. And the talk was, how do you take that verifiable credential and deploy it into the system from the time a traveler books all the way through their arrival? One of the exciting projects that was demonstrated was a collaboration with IATA, a number of companies, including our friends over at SICPA. And SICPA was able to show how a passenger can port their identity from the point that they purchase a ticket to make sure that by being able to prove who they are and their loyalty club information and that they were given special offers by the booking site, that information was then conveyed to the airline, that through the check-in process, their digital identity information that they need for boarding and check-in was able to be there. They were able to show that through a biometric upon arrival. And so that was very exciting to see SICPA help with this consortium in demonstrating that in front of the audience. What's really important is what we learned about in a research report that was released by IATA is that digital identity and biometrics are really the biggest opportunity for airlines. And now we're seeing organizations like our friends at SICPA, like Indicio, who are demonstrating this actually works. The technology works, and it's verifiable credentials that's powering it.
Awesome. So, were there any interesting hallway conversations or any interesting people that you met while hanging out at the conference?
One of the conversations I had, I think had the most impact on me personally, was with a woman who works for Boeing. She specifically designs for accessibility in airplane cabins. And it was a really good conversation about making sure that air travel is accessible to all, and those who need additional accommodation are included. And the conversation really had me think about what we do in the verifiable credential community and our commitment to making sure that everyone has ease of ability to hold and share their verifiable credentials. What are we doing in UI, UX? What are we doing to make sure that those who can get credentials that will actually help them have better accommodation and have them receive the accessibility that they need? What are we doing there? And so I think, if anything, that conversation, there was also a track session on accessibility as well, had an impact to make sure that we are committed and keep accessibility in mind with everything that we develop in verifiable credentials.
Absolutely. Well, I know it's been a very full couple days for you, and I don't want to keep you any longer. So appreciate you taking the time to speak with us today, Heather. For those of you at home, if you'd like to learn more about verifiable credential technology or what's happening in the industry, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to bring you some more educational information. And if you have any questions or specific topics, please leave a comment below. We'll be sure to read and address them. Thank you again to you, Heather. If someone was interested in learning more about either verifiable credentials in general or anything specifically we've talked about today, is there anywhere you'd suggest they look?
Our Indicio blog, I mean, there is a tremendous amount of resource on verifiable credentials. And if you don't want to check the blog on a regular basis, the Indicio newsletter, because we put out a significant amount of content and thought leadership on verifiable credentials. So sign up for that newsletter, go to our website, and take it from there.